Hey everyone, Mike on Monday coming to you. So we've gone from the cool conditions of this long spring and such into now the heat. So crops are taking off, bugs are getting very active, weeds are shooting out of the ground quickly. So lots are going to have to happen here in a very short period of time because it's going to coincide, at least in my area, with a lot of things that went in the ground in June. I'm standing next to some ryegrass, some cereal rye, again one of the cover crops, and as well as a mix of different clovers over on to the right here. Basically, I've been getting a lot of questions on cover crops as we moved into prevent plant acre and et cetera, et cetera. So first I want to say that when it comes to the prevent plant acre, make sure you've talked with your insurance agent on the protocols that you need to follow and know based on what they're telling you. I hear a lot of different things. Sometimes they conflict. My response is you and your agent are the people that got to keep this straight. So back to what are we going to do out there? Well, we have the old method of we can do some tillage, we can do some spraying to control weeds, etc. But remember that Mother Nature is always going to want to put something back on that acre. She wants something growing at all times, if at all possible. That's just how nature works. So one of the thoughts over the years has been these cover crops. Do I make the choice of which plants are going to grow out there versus Mother Nature? So in that scenario of jumping into a cover crop, you start asking yourself some questions, and these are fairly typical questions for the cover crop regardless of the year. First of all, are you a cash grain that you're just looking to hold back some weeds, or do you want to do something that's on the soil health side of it, maybe erosion control, maybe build some compaction issues, such as putting in a tillage radish to try and break up some compaction issues. You can look at those questions to see how that fits in. Is this crop in any way going to be used as a forage? Again, minding the protocols that are required for that situation with your insurance agent. So it might be, if that's the case, that you're a dairyman or working with a dairy person that's going to need some forages and such, what fits. So, in this heat, our minds jump very quickly to the sorghums, the forage sorghums, the sorghum sedans, etc., that love this kind of condition. They can grow under lower moisture with lots of heat. That typically is pretty good for this time of the year, but nothing's been close to average at this point. But back to the sorghums, typically what I've found over the years that we want to have those warm season materials in the ground by July 15th to get them to produce at least in an adequate way that we're hoping for from a forage side of that selection. If it's just part of the cover crop package, you can get a little more flexible with that timing. One of the questions or comments I've been hearing that scare me a little bit is, I'm just going to go in there and cut it with the Kemper head and blow it up into the bunker, the silo, the bag. Remember that all these materials, when a live plant that's growing, is going to be somewhere around 80% moisture. So in most cases, that's not going to work. You're going to need to get it laid down and do some wilting to get it down into that 70% range or so, to get it to flow through your equipment, to pack well, to ensile well. Again, if you're going down that road, let's have that discussion. Call any of the agronomists or nutritionists with the company Country Visions or CP Feeds, and have that discussion ahead of time how to manage this material. Back to other selections out there. There's quite a few, but as you're thinking forage, is this an opportunity to set up some of the alfalfa, seed down an alfalfa field or two? If you've got some roughed up alfalfa from this past winter, or maybe the harvest of this spring so far may have put a lot of wear and tear on it, a new seeding might be something that for you to consider. Again, being warmer and drier, if that's the case, that's traditionally the case this time of year, puts a little risk into putting that crop into the ground. That's where a little bit of seed depth comes into play. So just putting it on the surface like we traditionally do in spring, if we don't have enough moisture to keep that plant growing in the summer heat, that could jeopardize that stand. So consider how you want to get that into the ground. Such as, it might be a drill as an example, getting a 1/4 inch or a little bit better depending on your soil type. So again, alfalfa might be an option. One of the others that I bring forward is, well, is that field going to be going into winter wheat? Start thinking forward on where am I planting winter wheat maybe this year. If that's the case, it might be something like maybe a buckwheat field goes in as a cover. Gives you some interesting soil health combinations. It gives us a pollination feeder for a short period of time. It's about a 60-day crop. Some folks have asked, can I make a forage out of that? So I did look up what we might expect out of that crop as a forage, and data shows anywhere from 1.5 to 4 tons of dry matter per acre. So that's quite a range in my opinion. Protein can be around 12%. That's crude protein, and ADF at 33 and NDF at 44. Again, when we're dealing with forages, it's all about the timing of the cut and how we get it put away and ensiled to basically get the forage that we're after. Again, this may work on some small fields, which is neat and nice, but look at the big picture. Where would I put that on my farm? If I have nothing but large bunkers and little bits and this and that, may not really work well. Put that as part of your consideration. Also be looking at the timing of when all this stuff would need to be harvested, and how's that matching up with any of the other forages that you might be making. So if you've got some buckwheat out there, you've got some sorghum out there, you've got some your regular alfalfa, where is that all timing out that you're managing that situation, that you can maximize not only yield but quality and the availability of equipment to get these things put away in a fashion that they're valuable to you. So the list goes on, and yes, corn and soybeans can be planted on these acres. Again, you're going to have a conversation with your insurance agent as to what their protocols are, making sure that you're doing what they're saying has to be done in order to utilize those materials on that acre of prevent plant. But with that, I guess enjoy the summer. July 1, we'll see some corn in Sheboygan County that touches knee high. Not a lot, but to the west, I did see that we've got some cornfields farther west of here that are doing okay. We got to get past the rains and such. So side dress, get that on quickly as that crop is going into rapid growth. Finish up your herbicide, watch the insecticides if you need any, because bugs are going to ramp up through this heat. Fungicide treatments, be watching for that. Haven't seen anything major on alerts on the fungicide portion of it, but know that we're in a damp environment and that it's easier for disease to pop in. With that, lots covered today. Keep the questions coming. Give us a shout if you need some help. Have a great week and a happy 4th.